Hey, it's Michael Martin Murphey. First of all, I want to apologize. We love you, we really do. It's Valentine's Day, and we'd really love to have been on the air at 7, but we have a major blizzard going on here in Fort Worth, Texas, and we've had some internet problems tonight. It's running kind of slow. Guess maybe there's ice on the lines, but that's why we're all cozied up here so we can sit around the fire inside and enjoy a Valentine's evening. Tonight, I'd like to dedicate my whole show to Cindy. My wife, Cindy, has just been amazing, and she's really helped out a lot tonight. And if we had these problems, she's gotten us through it, and feeding us snacks in the meantime. Hope everything's going okay out your way. I know a lot of people are kind of snowbound. I'm going to jump right into singing a song because I got a lot of shout-outs and stories for you tonight. But happy Valentine's Day to you. Here's a love song I wrote when I was a very young man. She came to me, said she knew me, said she'd known me a long time, and she spoke of being in love with every mountain she had climbed, and talked of trails she'd walked up far above the timberline. From that night on, I knew I'd write songs, Carolina in the pines. There's a new moon on the 14th, first quarter the 21st, and the full moon in the last week brings a fullness to this earth. There's no guesswork in the clockwork of the world's art or mine. There are nights I only feel right with Carolina in the pines. As the frost shows on the windows and the wood stove smokes and glows, as the fire grows, we will warm our souls, watching rainbows in the cold. And we'll talk of trails we walked up far above the timberline. There are nights I only feel right with Carolina in the pines. Sweet Carolina, sweet. Right, happy Valentines to all of you. Yeah, you noticed that I started off by dedicating the whole show to my wife, Cindy, and then, the next thing you know, I'm doing a song about one of my ex-wives. That's love, folks. Hey, this is about love and reality tonight. This is not about imaginary sort of airy-fairy in the sky love. And we're going to be telling some pretty amazing stories tonight. I'm going to reach over here and grab one of my stories that people sent in. And people bought tickets. We gave them the option to get the album that's attached to this whole thing. It's an album of love songs that I put together. It's called What's Forever For? And also, I'm doing a lot of songs from my greatest hits tonight, too, because, to tell you the truth, most of my hits have been love songs. Even Wildfire is a love song, maybe to a horse. But cowboys are allowed to love their horses, right? Here's a nice little story that I'm going to read. See, that's not the one I wanted. Here it is. It's a nice story that we had come in requesting one of my favorite songs, and I want to send this out to Brian Reinhardt, who's a filmmaker and an educator. And it doesn't say here where he lives, but he's been married for 30 years. And he says, my wife and I started dating 37 years ago, and Michael Martin Murphey's music has been there from the beginning. We've seen him many times in concert across the country. Vanishing Breed is the song that most represents us, and we used at our wedding 30 years ago, last December 22nd. Thanks for being the soundtrack to our wonderful and happy life together. Well, that is really a moving story. Thank you very much, and I'll be happy to sing that for you. I know there's some other people that requested that song, and I know some people that are watching up in Montana. Rod and Sandy Deo probably wanted to hear that song too. In fact, I sang it for her on her birthday party. Brought me into Durango, Colorado when they lived there, and sang a private show just for her birthday party with her family and friends. So here's to Rod and Sandy, but especially to Brian for his special request of Vanishing Breed, and in honor of 30 years of marriage. We're going to get to a lot of other stories tonight. We got plenty of time. I hope you do too. Might be staying a little bit later than we planned. That's what you do on Valentine's Day, right? We're both the kind who can find peace of mind in the light of an old fireplace, wrapped in a blanket, talking the night away, watching snow fall and the lone wolf is calling out into the endless space. There aren't many left like us these days, down where the city lights burn. I know we'll never return. Listen to the wind blow over the hills, the whispering pines. Everything is free, and all that we see is yours and mine. Just you and me, and this old log house is all that we need. That's why they call us the Vanishing Breed. It's good just knowing that our love is growing. We're gonna find a place in this life we built with our own hands. like a wild horse is running out under the sun. We're gonna find some space. There aren't many left like us these days. God's greatest gift to you and me is knowing how it feels to be free. Listen to the wind blow over the hills through whispering pines. Everything is free, and all that we see is yours and mine. Just you and me, and this old log house is all that we need. That's why they call us the vanishing breed. Hey, that's why they call us the vanishing breed. Thank you. I can hear you clapping, across the broadcast airwaves here tonight. Somewhere out there, I hear like a couple of hands clapping. Right? What show is that always ended that way? I don't know. There's one that always just had the sound of one person clapping. I think it was a comedy show. If anybody remembers which show that was, send it to us in the comment. By the way, you can send us comments while we're doing this and update what's going on. Meanwhile, I've got something else for you now. This is another story, and I don't do this show in any particular order tonight, but this is a great story that I got in. A request for a song that I've loved singing for years by Badger Clark, who's one of the great cowboy poets. And I've sung this song actually at his cabin up in South Dakota in Custer State Park, which is a beautifully run state park there in South Dakota. We used to do some horseback rides up there during the Buffalo Roundup, and part of the Buffalo Roundup, which only happened on one day, and then we rode around the park the rest of the time. Bob Lannis in the lead there. He was my great outfitter. There's no way I could have done any of that without him. We would stop at Badger Clark's cabin. So I got this wonderful request. It says, Dana Quicknag here, along with my husband, Scott Nag. We're so looking forward to this concert. My husband and I will celebrate 35 years of fun and marriage, May 2021. The summer of 2015, my hero husband hauled me all the way from central Iowa to the Flint Hills of Kansas to hear Murph in a concert. As a 70s kid, I fell in love with the song Wildfire and have been a fan ever since. The real perk for me, though, was hearing Murph sing Spanish is the Loving Tongue. That song gets to me every time I hear it. I'm also a fan of the poems of Badger Clark. And by the way, folks, you can't do better than to order a book by Badger Clark. There's still some out there. Sun in Saddle Leather is the best one. One of the first cowboy poets and just a great writer of lyrics. So, wrote a lot of really blood and thunder kind of stuff, but also a lot of sentimental stuff about the American West. The message in this particular poem song is so relevant, even though it was written in the early 1900s. Just like today, love is love. Gender, race, identity, or religion doesn't matter. What matters is love. See you on Valentines, Dana and Scott. Wow, we sure need that message right now, don't we? Race, gender, all that stuff doesn't really matter. Love is love. Well, I think you're just repeating the Bible. That Jesus once said, love sort of trumps everything. And so here's the Spanish is a love song. Spanish is a living tongue. You know, back in the early part of the 20th century and in the 19th century, a lot of cowboys went across the Rio Grande illegally to Mexico to get a good job, the opposite of what's happening now. Who really believed that that happened, but it did. American life and the American economy wasn't that good. They felt like they had to go to Mexico to work on a good ranch. This is a story of when Badger left South Dakota, went down to Arizona, crossed the border into Mexico, was working down there in Sonora. He fell in love with a beautiful Mexican girl. But he had to leave because it was the time of Pancho Villa. Americans were no longer welcome in Mexico, and he had to leave. Well, just as Dana and Scott just said, love tops everything. Sometimes politics tries to get in the way. But I guess it was eternal, because Badger left Mexico, never saw that girl again. I was up there many years ago at his cabin. I noticed that he remained a bachelor for the rest of his life, so she must have really been something. Spanish is the loving tongue, soft as springtime, light as spray. There was a girl I learned it from, living down Sonora way. Now I don't look much like a lover, yet I say her love words over. Late at night when I'm all alone, mi amor, mi corazón. There were nights when I would ride, she would listen for my spurs. She'd fling that big door open wide and raise those laughing eyes of hers. And how those hours would get to flying. Pretty soon I'd hear her crying, please don't leave me all alone. Mi amor, mi corazón. Then one time I had to fly. Got myself into a foolish gambling fight. I had to say a swift goodbye in that black, unlucky night. And traveling north, her words kept ringing in every hoofbeat. I could hear her singing, please don't leave me all alone, mi amor, mi corazón. I've never seen her since that night. I can't cross the border, you know. She is Mexican and I am white. Like as not, it's better so. And yet I've always sort of missed her since that very first night I kissed her. I left her heart and I lost my own. So adios, mi corazón. Spanish is a Loving Tongue by Badger Clark. I have another story associated with that request, and it's a pretty good one. It says, this is Jake Bomer, my wife, Amparo, and I have been married for 8 years on February 9th. When we met, I spoke very little Spanish and her no English. When I proposed, I thought the best way would be to sing your song, Spanish is a Loving Tongue. I would love to hear this song in the concert. Well, that gives that song a whole new context. There's one other story associated with that one. John and Roseanne Marquardt in Wisconsin, Wittenberg, Wisconsin, would like to request Spanish as a Loving Tongue. They've been married for 33 years, 6 months and 14 days as of February 14th. Thank you. Wisconsin misses you, Michael. Well, I miss you too. I miss every place right now. Hard to go anywhere, travel anywhere, but I have been able to go some places by myself. I just came back from Colorado, wonderful cross-country ski trip up in a cabin up there. And since that other story was associated with somebody not knowing very much Spanish, I'll diverge from what I was going to do in the show and give you a little song that I wrote when I was in my teenage years, or barely out of my teenage years. I guess I was probably still 19 when I wrote this, about going down to Mexico. And I met up with a Mexican girl down there, went on a date with her, and she didn't know one bit of English and I didn't know one bit of Spanish. I don't know, I guess, maybe amigo or amiga or whatever, but that's about the way it was. So this is called What Am I Doing Hanging Around? This was recorded by the Monkees, by the way. those of you out there watching who don't know who the Monkees are, it's spelled Monkees. At one time, the Monkees sold more records than the Beatles, for a little while anyway. I think this was the only bluegrass song they ever recorded, thanks to my buddy Michael Nesmith. Just a loudmouth Yankee, I went down to Mexico. I didn't have much time to spend, about a week or so. I lightly took advantage there of a girl who loved me so. Found myself a-thinking when my time had come to go. What am I doing hanging around? I should be on the train and gone. I should be riding on that train to San Antonio. What am I doing hanging around? She took me to the garden just for a little walk. Well, I didn't know much Spanish and there was no time for talk. She told me that she loved me not with words but with a kiss. Found myself a-thinking of some old train I could not miss. What am I doing hanging around? I should be on the train and gone. I should be riding on that train to San Antonio. What am I doing hanging around? It's been a year or so, I want to go back again. And if I had the money, I'd ride the same old train. But I guess your chances come but once, and I sure have missed mine. Find myself a-thinking when I hear some whistle cry. What am I doing hanging around? I should be on the train and gone. I should be riding on that train to Mexico. What am I doing hanging around? By the way, that is not on my greatest hits, and it's also not on the What's Forever For album, but you can get it on an album of mine called Buckaroo Bluegrass. Now, you have to go to my website to go to the web store to pick that up, but I recorded a great version of that. Guy Sam Bush played guitar on it, and Sam Bush played mandolin on it, and Pat Flynn played guitar, and just a great group of people played on that record, Buckaroo Bluegrass. So that's What Am I Doing Hanging Around? Let's do a few more shout outs right now. I'm going to jump over. I've got a list of people who just sent in their names and didn't request songs with it, and I want to send a shout out to them. Some of them are friends and family, by the way. So here's a happy Valentine's Day to Keith and Jeannie Mark, and they live up in the southeastern part of Kansas, up not too far from Kansas City. Greg and Debbie Gilman, and Steve and Peggy Brotherton, Stuart and Emily Piquel. And by the way, all those people are in the medical field that I just mentioned. It reminds me that I was going to read something for them. And, we're still in the middle of trying to get over this pandemic as of the time that you're watching this live. If, you watch it later on, we're going to archive this and replay it again sometime. And you'll be able to watch this, by the way, for 7 days afterwards. If we got started late and you had to go someplace else, you can come back and watch it. Starting right after we finish tonight, you can watch it for 7 more days with your ticket. It's not available to the general public, but thank you for buying a ticket. Anyway, this is written by the poet laureate, one of the poet laureates of the state of Texas. I'm not sure which year that was. I met her at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum when she won an award, which we call the Wrangler Award. There's one of those back there in the corner. You see those cowboys on horses. Those are like the Academy Award in my world. And Carla Kay won it for her poetry book called Wooden Lions. And great book of poetry. Carla K. Morton wrote this for her doctors. Carla's never been afraid to tell the story of how she got cancer and how people saved her life. And as a matter of fact, she has a whole book about that. And so shout out to Carla and a guy that writes poetry with her a lot. Alan Berkelback is out there too tonight. So Carla, thank you for writing this poem. But this is for all our doctors out there, all our healthcare workers, all the people that have helped us get through this pandemic, and the ones who suffered for the people that didn't make it. And you know how they must feel. But Carla made it through her illness, which was cancer. And so this is not an entirely serious poem, but shows the elation and the joy of getting through it. It's called To My Doctors. Yes, to all of you, you need to know that I want to give you a chicken. Let me read that part of the poem over again. To my doctors. Yes, to all of you, you need to know that I want to give you a chicken. The biggest, most flamboyant chicken ever seen. I want to petition City Council to change the homeowner codes to let me raise chickens in the backyard just so I can give one to you. You who saved my life, who healed my body and made me whole again. We're past the age of payments in coin and almost dollars in checks, but this virtual transference of money just doesn't seem adequate. It's about the gift. Now, I'm sure you didn't go through 12 years of medical school dreaming of paltry riches, but I want to give you something big and vibrant and squawking. I want to watch your eyebrows rise as it fills your grasp and overflows your arms. I want you to experience gratitude in something so amazingly alive, a wild, beating heart in your hands. Wonderful poem by Carla K. Morton. By the way, I'm working on a project with Alan and Carla right now relating to a book where they visited and wrote poems about every single national park. And so let me go through the rest of this list here for a second. I also want to send out a shout out to Jim, Naomi, and Lilu Bell, and Fritz, Alex, Carl, and Lamar Steiger and their families. They've done a lot for my private foundation, Murphey Western Institute, and I am so grateful to you. Hope you're having a great Valentine's Day. Some wonderful marriages among all those names there. Sarah and Morgan, my daughters, Brett, Jessica, Evelyn, Ethan, Malachi and Sylvia up in Wisconsin, Brennan, Melissa, and Marin out in Taos, New Mexico, Laura Lynn and Clark up in Brooklyn, New York, Ryan, Francie, Fiona, and Ellie out in Nashville, Rod and Sandy Deo up in Montana. I think I already mentioned them. Frank and Judy Goodrich in Kansas. Frank's the president of Murphey Western Institute, my nonprofit foundation for Western Heritage, which most of my Lone Cowboy shows benefit, and a lot of the merchandise we sell benefits that. We're in the process of building a library now to house my book collection, and a research center and a retreat center for people who want to look at my files of songs and books. Jim and Kathy Rauch out in California. And by the way, Jim and Kathy, I think you've been married 42 years. I think that's correct. I'm going to look here in a minute and see if I can find the other sheet about your marriage. Joyce and C.R. Pennington My cousins down there in Salado, Texas, BJ and Janet Jordan out in Missouri. Their anniversaries this week. BJ and Janet Jordan run the wonderful Crossroads Ministries, which young men learn cowboying in that ministry out in Colorado in the summertime. Then they go back to Missouri where they live. Check it out, Crossroads Ministries. I think you'll be really interested in that. Margaret Joe Bryan, Joan Martindale up in Wyoming. Scott Martindale's Western Store used to be my neighbor when I lived up there in northern Colorado near Laramie. Jerry and Millie Beck, our good friends also up in Wyoming. Chuck and Marilyn Huff and Rebecca Lopez. Doug Montgomery over there in Stephenville, Texas, owner of Techstar Ford. You know, Doug, thanks a lot for all the great vehicles that you've sold to me over the years and given me such a great deal on, and all the music shows that you've sponsored. And also Joe and Judy Abels, who I think are watching. Joe and Judy Abels own the Saxon Pub, the place where I got my start in Austin, Texas, many years ago. Saxon Pub is still going. You can hear a lot of great Texas music there. Okay, let's go to another song right now, and I think I'll do this one. This is, of course, a really key song, and it's attached to a request too. And then I'll ask Dan to get set up for a song, Secret Smile, I'm going to do right after this. So, okay. Dale and Caroline Icor, Fort Dodge, Iowa, married 60 years Friday, February 12th. We were married at St. John's Lutheran Church, Clarinda, Iowa, February 12, 1961. I've been in radio 6 months, my first station at KDSN, Denison, Iowa. What's Forever For would be appropriate. Well, Dale and Carolyn, I tell you, you're absolutely great people. When I lived in Wisconsin for a few years, I used to go over and visit my friends in Fort Dodge, Iowa, just a few miles away. And my goodness, what a great DJ Dale Icor is, and supported by his wife for so many years. We've also got a lot of other people, by the way, who requested this song. I'll probably find that here in a minute. Let me look over here. See if I've got some more. Yeah, here's another one too. Another story attached to this song. Cinda Pierce, my husband Wayne and I have been married for 41 years in September. For our 35th anniversary, we took a train trip out of Alamosa, Colorado to a music venue where we attended a concert by Mr. Murphey. On the way back to Alamosa, we retreated to a private concert as he sang What's Forever For, and I guess that was in the one of the dining cars where I was walking around playing songs for people, not on the main stage that you played on when you got to the top of that. He autographed our copy of Blue Sky Night Thunder, which has a prominent spot in our den. I'm looking forward to surprising my husband with this concert. So I guess it wasn't much of a surprise when you went on at 7 o'clock and you couldn't find me. But maybe it was a surprise when we finally came on the air. Anyway, that's another song associated with this song, What's Forever For. And I'll tell you, this song is probably my second most successful and popular song next to Wildfire. I've been looking at people, how they change with the times. Lately all I've been seeing are people throwing love away, losing their minds. Maybe it's me who's gone crazy, but I can understand why all these lovers keep hurting each other. Good love is so hard to come by. So what's the glory in living? Doesn't anybody ever stay together anymore? And if love never lasts forever, what's forever for? And I see love-hungry people trying their best to survive. And right there in their hands, there's a dying romance, and they're not even trying to keep it alive. So what's the glory in living? Doesn't anybody ever stay together anymore? And if love never lasts forever, what's forever for? What's the glory in living? Doesn't anybody ever stay together anymore? And if love never lasts forever, what's forever for? What's forever for? Good question. Good thing to think about on Valentine's Day. Well, let's see what else we've got here. I'm thinking about another song I want to get pulled up here in a minute, called "Love Affairs." But before I get to that, we'll do this one. This is, of course, an essential part of the show. This is really a moving story that these people requested. They requested the song "Long Line of Love," and several people have requested that song tonight. We probably won't get to all the requests. We're going to try to get to as many as we can. But this is from Elena and Aaron Powell, and this is something. My husband Aaron and I will be celebrating our 16th wedding anniversary in June this year. We met while he was in the Navy, stationed in Norfolk, Virginia, while my family and I were on a family vacation. Hey, by the way, Aaron, just wanted to tell you, my people in my family, all Navy, and got a Navy history going back to even the Civil War, and Murphey's being in the Navy. So thanks for your service. It was the last night of our vacation. The members of my family could not decide where we should go out to eat. So my mother pulled out the yellow pages, flipped to a page, and put her finger down, and it landed on Captain George's Seafood Buffet in Virginia Beach. Talk about the stars aligning. Aaron was the waiter. That's her husband. Who was this shy guy who wrote down his name and email address on a gum wrapper for me? We emailed for months before finally reconnecting in person. He eventually moved home to Iowa, and we dated long distance off and on for 6 years before getting married. This kind of stuff sound familiar? This is an American relationship, isn't it? We're such a mobile society. It hasn't been all smooth sailing, as is true for any relationship. This is where it gets a little bit rough, but I want you to pay attention closely to this story. He was hit by a drunk driver, and both legs were broken. He had to learn to walk again, and we suffered financial difficulties. However, we both come from families with deep-rooted beliefs that love and faith can conquer anything. His parents married 50 years and mine 48 years. Our love is stronger than it was the day we married, and I'm so grateful to God to have given me such an amazing man to love and grow with. We now have 2 beautiful children of our own, and we're so proud of them. Thank you, Michael, for continuing to share all of your beautiful music. Elena and Aaron Powell. Wow, what a story. Put yourself in harm's way in the military and you end up getting hit by a drunk driver. But we've all got those stories to tell. Aaron and Elena, I want you to know I almost lost my wife in a car accident a few years ago. Out of control drivers. But love endures, even when you lose somebody. That's what forever is for. So here you are. Years went by, bought a beautiful diamond ring, offered it to the sweetest thing I know. Said she would take it, started making some wedding plans. She looked at me and she took my hand and she said, "Do you think we can make it?" Said my granddad's still in love, my grandma. My dad still thinks my mom the sweetest thing he ever saw. I come from a long line of love. Times get hard, we don't give up. Forever's in my heart and in my blood. Come from a long line of love. Years went by and we had a son. Now he thinks that he's found someone for him. Planning a wedding. Called me up on the phone today just to see what I had to say to him. Did I think he was ready? Said what his grandfather used to say to me. It's been handed down for ages. It runs in the family. You come from a long line of love. Times get hard, we don't give up. Forever's in your heart and in your blood. Come from a long line of love. Just remember, you come from a long line of love. Long Line of Love. Again, next to Wildfire, right up there with What's Forever For is one of my most popular songs. And by the way, that is on the album I took most of the material for this show from that we just put together. It's a compilation of my love songs, volume 1, because we're going to do more. But it has that wonderful song on it, Long Line of Love. It's also got What's Forever For. If you go to www.writingwildfire.com, www.writingwildfire.com, there's a special offer going on this album right now, and also a pendant that you can get that says What's Forever For on it that you can give your sweetheart. So that's how I make a living, selling music. And however, I don't sell out. I only do songs that I really believe in and that I really like. Only write songs that I really believe in. I'm not going to be embarrassed by later. So I want to tell you an incredible story here, another one that was sent in to me. I believe this is it right over here. This is really amazing. Oops, nope, that's not the one. Here it is. Sorry, folks, this is live. But I love doing this. This is from Sandra Mixdorf, and I picked this song to go with it. She didn't really request a song in conjunction with this story, but they bought a ticket to the Valentines Sweetheart Serenade. This is also one of the most moving stories we're going to read tonight. My name is Sandra, and my sweetheart is Leonard. We met at a flea market while he was trying to purchase silver for me. We instantly connected. His eyes had such a sparkle, and he said he just loved my smile. While this was only 4 months ago, we've been going strong with a love that grows stronger every day. What makes this an incredible story is the fact that he is 75 years old and I am 60. After 27 years, his marriage had ended, and after 21 years, I lost my husband to brain cancer. We both were in a place where we figured we'd be alone for the rest of our lives. Finding this love had saved us both and brought us to a beautiful place of comfort, peace, and lasting love. A very special gift that neither of us felt we would ever have again. By God's grace, we have been blessed with this beautiful, everlasting love and can live our lives out together. Life does not get any better than this. I love you, Leonard. Thank you for everything you bring to me through your love. Forever and always, my love, Leonard. There you go. Only 4 months, and they feel about that, and look what they went through. So this show is mostly about people finding a way in life. I try to keep it on the up and up and positive. I've never liked songs about drinking, divorce, and depression. I like songs that are about love, that lift people up. So here's one about taking a chance on love for Sandra and Leonard. We've both been burned. We should have learned. Should have walked right out the door. This is nothing new for me and you. We both played this song before. On and on and on the movie goes. Romance is a show they'll never close. Love fairs, we've had our share. Are we a pair of fools? Should we break the rules, or do we dare start another love affair? Those old love songs always turn out wrong, with lovers crying in the night. We know them well, but who can tell? This time it just might turn out right. Hey, on and on and on the music goes. Romance is a show they'll never close. Love affairs, we've had our share. Are we a pair of fools? Hey, should we break the rules, or do we dare start another love affair? Yes, we've had our share. Are we a pair of fools? Hey, should we break the rules, or do we dare start another love affair? Well, I don't care. Start another love affair. And that was out on an album called Michael Martin Murphey a long time ago. I think 1982. I put that album out, and but you can still find that album on some of the platforms that are up, or buy it through my website. Again, the album is just called Michael Martin Murphey. It also was the original version of What's Forever For. And now I'm going to jump to another song that is kind of about going through difficulties in a relationship, but coming through it. I'm sure a lot of people out there can relate to this song, and if you can't, well, then I can. Okay. I was your hero, strong and fearless in your eyes. You were softer than the summer skies. Young lovers, we were so unwise. Time is a teacher. This time I've hurt you so, left you crying, but don't you let go. There's so much the years have left to show. Don't count the rainy days. They blow hard and then they're gone. Don't throw our love away, away, away in the dark before the dawn. You got to hold on To all the dreams we made, remember those beautiful nights. Don't count the rainy days. Don't count the rainy days. You know I'm a dreamer. I get lost inside a world of my own. And sometimes I'm made of stone, but I never meant to leave you alone. But I want to tell you, I know at times I didn't try. When you needed me, I'd run and hide. Oh, but now I'm standing by your side. So don't count the rainy days. They blow hard and then they're gone. Don't throw our love away, away, away. In the dark before the dawn, you got to hold on to all the dreams we made. Remember those beautiful nights. Don't count the rainy days. Don't count the rainy days. They blow hard and then they're gone. Don't throw our love away, away, away. In the dark before the dawn, you got to hold on to all the dreams we made. Remember those beautiful nights. Don't count the rainy days. No, no, no. Don't count the rainy days. Don't count the rainy days. Wow, isn't that the truth? We tend to concentrate on the rainy days and the hard times and the storms, and we don't think about the good times. But I think reconcentrating on the good times is a way to patch a relationship up. At least that's the way it's worked for me over the years. And I don't claim to be any marriage counselor, believe me. I haven't had all that much luck in relationships, but it's been a good life. I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot from the hard times as well as the good times. Now I'm going to do a song for you that I know you expected me to do tonight, and a lot of you are going to be surprised for me to say that this is a love song, but it is a love song. It's a love song to a horse and a girl, but there's also some stories attached to this, some people who wrote in, and I want to read one of those stories right now. This is from let's see. This is for Danny and Tanya Mingus, 2021. Danny is the pastor of the Bar None Cowboy Church down in East Texas. The Bar None Cowboy Church. If you're looking for an interesting church to visit or join, if you happen to be down that way, I think you can. It's not too far from Tyler, Texas is where it is. So this is for Danny and Tanya Mingus. They sent in this story. From the very first time I saw Tanya, she caught my eye and knew that very moment I loved her long before I knew her name. Our first real time to meet, which, by the way, became our first date as well. November 7th, 1974, we played football in the park. Love at first sight. We were married on September 6, 1975. I was 16 and she was 15. Our song then and still is a wildfire, a timeless song that brings a smile to our faces and our hearts every time we hear it. just let the intro begin and smiles come on our faces, and quite often tears of joy in our eyes, reminding us of the timeless and endless love that the two of us shared. Now, 45 years later, more in love than ever the first time we met. 2 kids, 8 grandkids, 6 great-grandkids. They all come from a long line of love, and that began the moment I first saw her. This is for Danny and Tanya Mangus that I sing Wildfire. Now, this song is based on an old legend that in hard times, a horse would come riding and save you from hard times. And the Lakota people, and I'm an adopted member of that nation, by the way, up in South Dakota. The Lakota people believed that this woman was called Buffalo Calf Woman, and she would always come and appear in hard times. And up there they say that she still does, sort of like Mother Mary. Always either riding a horse or walking along with a white buffalo and a white buffalo calf. She comes down from Yellow Mountain on a dark flat land she rides, on a pony she named Wildfire, a whirlwind by her side on a cold Nebraska night. They say she died one winter when there came a killing frost, and the pony she named Wildfire busted down and stalled. In a blizzard he was lost, ran calling wildfire, calling wildfire, calling So by the dark of the moon I planted, but there came an early snow. Been a hoot owl howling outside my window now 6 nights in a row. She coming for me, and on Wildfire we're both gonna go. We'll be riding wildfire, riding wildfire. We'll be riding wildfire. Gonna leave, side boasting behind, get the hard times right on out of our minds. We'll be riding Thanks for requesting that song, and thanks for the great story, Tanya and Danny. Like Danny wrote the story, but it was for Tanya too. And see, I got a little bit of other stuff here to do. I wanted to do a shout out tonight for my buddy Tom Waddle. Tom is the guy who designs and makes knives with me. And we've just put out recently a series of knives for raising money for Murphey Western Institute. And I want to thank everybody out there watching who's bought one of these knives. You find out more about that in the next few weeks. Or we might throw up an offer here in the next few days involving the knives, because we're coming up with some new versions of the knives. The first one we put out was the Trail Rider knife, but we've got a Mountain Man knife coming up. Anyway, Tom and Jill Waddle, this one's for you. It's a story that Tom sent in. He said, I would like to add the story of our first date. Jill and I met in Pensacola, Florida, and our first date was a fishing trip. We caught plenty of fish that night, came home, and a good friend cooked them on an open fire. Fresh fish, jalapeno peppers, hush puppies, yellow rice, and sweet tea at 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh man, this concert may have to end right now. This is making me hungry. I must have hooked her good, because we've been married for 36 years. So, Tom, that one's for you. Thanks for requesting. There's supposed to be a sheet here somewhere with a bunch of requests that are not attached, stuff that's not attached to a request. Here's one. Wanted you to know that we'll be looking forward to watching. This is, by the way, from Holly and John Homka. Wanted to know that we'll be looking forward to watching your live stream Sweetheart Serenade concert on Valentine's Day. We've been happily married for 40 years. Holly and John, happy anniversary, 40 years. Also tell you we really enjoyed your Rockin' 3M Chuck Wagon dinner and great live concert in Red River in August of 2019. And they're from Percassi, Pennsylvania. So one great thing about the internet, we got people watching from all over the country and all over the world tonight. People who bought tickets, and we sure do appreciate it. Here's another one. It's not attached to a request. I grew up spending the summers as much as other time as possible in Red River. As a longtime fan of Michael Martin Murphey, when my beautiful bride came into my life, I shared his music with her. We fell in love wearing out a few of his cassettes. We were able to attend a concert at the Red River Inn shortly after we were married in 1987, and we're still big fans and in love for almost 34 years. That came from Craig Brock. Craig Brock. And Craig, hope you'll come on up to Red River this summer, as I am going to be doing another season in Red River. I was up there all summer for the last 9 years. We're going into our 10th year at the Rockin' 3M Chuck Wagon. And you can find out about this by just going on my website. And by the way, if any of you just are now tuning in, or you came in late, or you want to watch the show over again, you can do that. On YouTube. If you've got a ticket, as soon as this show's over, you can watch it again for 7 more days, anytime, 24 hours a day. So, hope you like the show that much. I know I'm not going to be playing these songs over and over again for 24 hours, 7 days a week, but we are going to be producing a few more shows. Okay, here's one. Shout out to Ed and Carolyn Evans, Mineral Wells, Texas. You've been married for 55 years. Congratulations. Wow, 5 years past your golden anniversary. Here's another good one, not attached to a request. This is from Kathy Johnson. Phil was born and went to school in Kansas in 1969. He moved to Oklahoma City to become a state farm agent. Kathy was born in Oklahoma and lived there almost her entire life. In 1973, both Phil and Kathy were married to other people, and Phil became Kathy's insurance agent. 1999, by chance, both Phil and Kathy were single. In May, the Oklahoma City area was hit by a terrible F5 tornado. In the aftermath, Phil was walking around the neighborhood, and we were in his office, and it was destroyed, when he happened to see Kathy's daughter. They spoke then, went their own way to assess the fire damages. A couple of days later, Kathy's daughter called and said, "Mom, you need to check Phil out. He's not a bad-looking guy for an old man." Well, Kathy did, and they started dating. 2 years later, in 2001, they got married. 19 years have passed, and they're still going strong. Now, Kathy, that might have been your maiden name, but I happen to know that you're now Kathy Dame, and that you married Phil Dame. And I know that because I just spent 2 weeks in your cabin in South Fork, Colorado, and you guys made dinner for me, breakfast, gosh, fixed almost all my meals. So what a great story. Met because of a tornado. Well, that makes sense in Oklahoma, doesn't it? All right, here's another one that is attached to a song. And as you all know, I play every summer in New Mexico, as I just mentioned, at the Rocking 3M Chuck Wagon in Red River. This says, "To my bride of 20 years, please sing Land of Enchantment. Erlinda, thank you for making my life here in Texas and New Mexico a wonderful journey. Mikey, looking forward to seeing you again in Red River again this summer. Dan Bender and the Bender family." So this is for them. This is Land of Enchantment, which through no doing of my own, end up being voted the state ballad of New Mexico many years back because of a guy named Fred Peralta and Dolly Peralta. And if you guys are watching out there tonight, this one is also for you. Thanks so much for going down to the legislature when you were in the New Mexico legislature, Fred, and introducing a bill to make this the state ballad of New Mexico. And it was voted in because of that bill you introduced by a joint session of the legislature, and I think it was a unanimous vote. It'd be nice to see a unanimous vote in a legislature on something these days, wouldn't it? This is a love song to New Mexico. I met a lady in my drifting days, quickly fell under the spell of her loving ways. A rose in the desert, I loved her so. In the land of enchantment, New Mexico, we watched the sunset by the Rio Grande. A mission bell rang farewell. She took my hand. She said, "Come back, amigo. No matter where you go, in the land of enchantment, New Mexico." From her arms I wandered far across the sea. Often heard her gentle words haunting me. come back, amigo. No matter where you go, to the land of enchantment, New Mexico. So come back, amigo, no matter where you go, to the land of enchantment, New Mexico. Well, I guess I better follow that up with a love song for Texas, because I am a native Texan, always will be. Love New Mexico, though. Love all the western states and a few of the eastern states too. I've had a great life in the American West, and that's why my whole nonprofit foundation is dedicated to the heritage of the American West. Now, this really interesting love song is written for a lady who made it possible for the state of Texas to come into being back in the day. She flirted with General Santa Anna when he came marching through on his way to San Jacinto, thinking he was going to whoop the Texans. And she flirted with him. He got distracted and spent way too much time with her. And along came General Sam Houston of the Texian Army, and they charged at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And Santa Anna, I guess, was still in his bathrobe. That's what the story goes. And they won the battle, and that turned the tide. Remember, they were charging and saying, "Remember the Alamo" at that time. Now, the Yellow Rose of Texas was a mulatto girl of a mixed race who had a golden-colored skin. And I don't know, a lot of people speculate that she knew what she was doing when she did that, and that wasn't for her, there would be no Texas. There may be some people out there that root for football teams that kind of wish that Texas never happened, but anyway, this is for all my Texas friends out there and people who love Texas as much as I do. There's a yellow rose in Texas I'm going to see. No other cowboy knows her half as much as me. Cried so when I left her, light to broke her heart. If we ever meet again, we never more shall part. Sweetest rose of color this cowboy ever knew. Her eyes are just like diamonds and they sparkle like the dew. We may talk about your dearest maid, sing of Rosalie, but the yellow rose of Texas beats the bells of Tennessee. Where the Rio Grande is flowing and the stars are shining bright, we walked along together a quiet summer night. She said, if you remember when we parted long ago, promise to come back again and never leave me so. She's the sweetest rose of color this cowboy ever knew. Her eyes are just like diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. You may talk about your dearest maid, sing of Rosalie, but the yellow rose of Texas beats the bells of Tennessee. I'm going back to see her, my heart is full of woe. We'll sing the songs together we played so long ago. Pick the banjo gaily, sing the songs of yore, and the yellow rose of Texas will be mine forevermore. She's the sweetest rose of color this cowboy ever knew. Her eyes are just like diamonds, they sparkle like the dew. You may talk about your dearest maid, sing of Rosalie, but the yellow rose of Texas beats the bells of Tennessee. Yes, the yellow rose of Texas beats the bells of Tennessee. All right, yellow rose of Texas, and that's why my wife was nice enough to make this flower arrangement. that has the appropriate colors for Valentine's Day, red and yellow for the Yellow Rose of Texas. And I don't know if Cindy, can you hear me in there? If you're watching or you can hear me in there, could you bring that picture of my parents? It's sitting on the shelf in my office. And here I'd like to dedicate a song to my parents before I go. She must be in the back or upstairs. Maybe she couldn't get on to the internet. Yeah, it's in Dan, why don't you go get it? Our engineer, Dan's going to go get it. I'd say my parents were married for 62 years. And I had them in the Long Line of Love video that I made years ago, which I'm real proud of. And one of these days we'll run that video as part of one of the Lone Cowboy Hours that we have coming. They were an incredible couple. They went through World War II together. They got through all the other wars and all the other ups and downs and still remain loyal. Just had 2 kids. And here's a picture of them coming right now. So, see, I don't know, Dan, can you see that on the camera? Can you see that picture of my parents? That was a picture that they took when they were married. P.L. and Lois Murphey. Oh, put it over there? Okay. Maybe now you can see it better. P.L. and Lois Murphy. And she was my Yellow Rose of Texas. They both passed away now. But wonderful, wonderful people. Kind of what this show is all about, is people finding love that lasts forever. I'm going to put this picture right here. Hope it doesn't get knocked over by my clumsy guitar movements here. So anyway, when my dad passed away, we were all gathered around his hospital bed, and my mother asked if we could sing Red River Valley together. So my dad's last words to my mother were, "I love you, Lois." And then we all sang Red River Valley to him. From this valley, they say, you are going. I shall miss your bright eyes and sweet smile. They say you are taking the sunshine that has brightened our pathway a while. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River Valley and the cowboy who loved you so true. Well, thanks for watching the Sweetheart Serenade. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you who bought a ticket. And remember, you'll be able to watch the show immediately after we finish for the next 7 days, anytime you want, just by using the link that we gave you to the ticket. I'd like to thank Dan McDonald, my engineer, and James Hodgen, who is working from Nashville to help oversee this production tonight. Once again, my wife, Cindy, for everything that she did to keep us going tonight as we fought against technical problems, snowstorms even getting here, at least for Dan. So God bless all of you. Good night. Happy Valentine's Day. Good night, Pink and Lois Murphy. I know you're watching this show from up there. Good evening.